Namaste. The subject for today is on dualism, non-dualism. Now, this non-dualism is the core or the essence of the subject of spiritualism. It originated around 3,000 years back in the teachings of Vedas from the Upanishads and was referred to as Advait Vedanta. Advait Vedanta. Vedas means knowledge, Vedanta means end of knowledge, and Advait stands for not two. Not two. Now, this has a very profound meaning, especially when the mind, the human mind, cannot function without duality. Cannot function. It has to relate day to night, male to female, divine to devil, good to bad, positive to negative, etc., etc., etc. So, for the mind, everything is relative. There is nothing absolute. What I mean is the cognitive mind, the senses, the tangible mind. It refers and relates to duality. Without duality, it has no meaning. It has to go to its opposite in order to choose, experience and infer. So from that, when we say body, mind and spirit, okay, body and mind are dual. What about the third, the spirit and the soul? They are supposed to be non-dual. Now let us see what I mean by they are supposed to be non-dual and how do I explain this non-duality from duality. Non-duality, as I've already said, it means not two. And those ancient sages who phrased this concept were very wise when they said not two and not one, because one has an element of duality in it. The moment we say oneness, it brings in a unity of many. It combines many things into that oneness. So it could not be said as one. It could be only referred as not two. Not two. So, in the subject of spiritualism, we have duality, we have non-duality, we have monism as oneness in the subject of monism, and then we have what you call nothingness, which they refer to as shunyata, zero, void, blank. So, after we go from the origination that it was in India that this non-duality came forward, and now of course it is followed by and explained by many other religions. And non-duality was defined very beautifully in the Isha Upanishads. Isha Upanishads, in the form of Shanti mantra, in the form of a mantra, Shanti mantra. Shanti means shant, quiet. Shanti is quietness. Mantra is a prayer, is a chant. So Shanti mantra said, that is complete, this is complete. From that completeness comes this completeness. If you take completeness away from this completeness, what remains is complete. How beautifully said. But what does it mean? What it meant was, it further explained in the Upanishads from the Mahavakyas. Everything is Brahman. All that exists is Brahman. You are Brahman. I am Brahman. I am Brahman. The four profound statements of the Upanishads and the Vedas, and the Vedas are the teachings of the Upanishads. So, Brahman, all is Brahman. There is nothing else Brahman which is complete. It is the absolute, non-dual, in totality, in wholesomeness, eternal, spaceless, timeless, limitless, infinite. And that is what our universe is all about. All about. And according to them, all that exists is Brahman. And this Brahman is the presence of Shunyata. Nothingness. Nothingness. Not one ingredient. Nothingness. Imagine. What a profound statement declaring that all that exists in this universe is Brahman, and it enumerates into zero in the form of a circle, Shunya, from which mathematics arose, from which Albert Einstein said we give a lot of credit to the Indians for teaching us mathematics, without which there would not have been much advancement in science. Imagine, from the zero, from the Shunya, from this nothingness, all numericals came out. On its own, zero is nothing. But the moment you add some numerical to it, from 10 to million to trillion to billion to whatever, it can go on. It has no end. So similarly, nothingness does not mean that it is absent of everything. No. Nothingness is not the absence. Nothingness means, for example, like the sky. Like the sky is eternal, is infinite. It is nothing on its own. But within which there are so many things, from clouds to birds to fallen leaves falling, to raindrops falling from the sky. So nothingness is everything. So there's a story behind it. There was a son who goes out into the world taking permission from his father to near the nature of reality and life. Nature of reality and life. When he comes back, after many, many years, I think 12 years, and meets his father says, "Son, go outside. And there's a tree, pluck a fruit and bring it to me." So the son does that and gives the fruit to the father. The father says, "Okay, now cut this fruit." He cuts it. There's a seed. Break the seed. What is it? There's nothing. There's nothing. After the seed, there's nothing. So he said, "Did the world teach you? Did the world teach you that what you cannot see, hear or know, what you cannot see, hear or know, or what cannot be seen, heard or known, and from which everything becomes known, from which everything becomes known, from which you cannot see, hear or know, everything becomes known." He says, "No, Father, nobody taught me that." He said, "See, from this nothing came out the seed. From the seed came out the sapling. From the sapling came out the tree. From the tree came out the fruit. From the fruit, many more fruits came out. And from many more fruits, many more seeds came out. And all they went back again to nothing to come up more with something. To come up more with something." So all these transient, meaning temporary things, they come out from this nothing and go back eventually into that nothing when the time passes by. When the time passes by. So, that is what was referred to as Brahman. Then science, inspired by the Upanishads, came out with the law of conservation of energy on the same lines as the Isha Upanishads, Shanti Mantra of completeness. Of completeness. That this nothingness, it is complete in all its respect. The law of conservation of energy states that all that exists is energy in this universe. It remains constant, it is indivisible, it can neither be created nor destroyed, and from within which all other subset energies emerge, which are interchangeable and go back into the same. There is nuclear energy, psychic energy, physical energy, hydro energy, thermal energy, electrical energy, solar energy, whatever energy, all these energies, one energy can be interchanged with the other, one energy pushes the another. Eventually, when they condense, they turn into mass, from atoms, molecules to mass. And when atoms collide, when protons and electrons collide, what happens? There is nothing. Just pure energy. And what is energy? It's the ability or the power of the nothingness to come up with something for the time it is there, from the stars to the subatomic particles. From the stars to the subatomic particles. So, non-dualism is and was explained beautifully by Shanti Mantra in the form of completeness. It is absolute and eternal and total and wholesome in all respects, but represents nothing. However, it has the ability to come out with something which is everything for us. So, there are two ways our gurus have and spiritual celebrities have explained. One is that they say this non-dual is an experience of oneness. When there are no thoughts, when all thoughts disappear from the mind, what is left? What is left is the non-dual soul. Non-dual is not experiential. It is the transcendent. It is the experienced. It is the Para Brahman. It is the Parameshwar. It is the Paramatma. It is the beyond of all beyond. It does not require any experiencing. And on top of that, mind can never be without thoughts while it is awake and alive. Because consciousness has to attach to duality. For the mind to perceive, conceive, experience and infer what it has perceived, to experience, to come out, to choose. Either you consciously choose or you don't choose. So the second understanding of non-duality is Shivoham. My dear Shivoham, the statue of Shivoham is here. Shiva. It says, you are Shiva. There is no other Shiva outside. Do not go to temple seeking for Shiva. Do not make statues out of him. These statues and these gods were made for the masses because the metaphysical realm was not easy to explain. When the sages realized the difficulty to explain to the masses about the metaphysical realm of the non-duality, they had no choice but to explain them in the figures of very good figures of male and female and heroic deeds with stories behind it and whatnot. But what does Shiva stands for? Nothing. That which is not. That which is not. That is what Shiva is all about. And you are Shiva, meaning that which is not. Meaning there is no self. There is no self. There is no such thing as self. Whatever is there in the self, physical and mental, is temporary. It comes and it goes. It cannot be considered. It has to be illusion. It has to be an illusion. Of course it is real. The body's mind is real, there's no doubt about it, but it's an illusion. Illusion means what seems to be real is not real. So the body and mind seems to be real, but it is not real. It goes back into nothing. Like for example, gold. In gold ornaments, say in a bracelet, necklace, ring, bangle, whatever, what appears is the ornament. And we identify that this is a necklace, this is a bangle, this is a ring, this is that. This and that. Dualities. But what is the essence? The essence of everything is gold. But We do not say it as gold. We will say it as a necklace. What appears and disappears. And that is temporary. So is it, say, in the case of clay, say a pot, say a bowl, say a tumbler made out of clay. The essence is the clay. Say in the ocean, thousands of waves, what we see in the ocean that we see. No, the essence is the water. What appears to us is the ocean, so we call it as the ocean. What appears to us as the wave are the waves, we call it as waves. But sorry, it is the essence. What matters is the essence. The sky is the essence of what we see when we look above into the heaven. That is the heaven. It is not the clouds, the birds, or some old man sitting with a long beard sending us to heaven and hell. Sorry. God is non-dual. God is indivisible. God is indivisible. He cannot be divided into different religions. Sorry. He cannot be. He just can't do it. He is non-dual. He is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. And likewise, we are interconnected, interrelated, interdependent, in continuity. And the non-dual part is who we are. Some represent that who we are as the soul, and some don't. They consider pure consciousness to be non-dual. Non-dual. Yes, it contains non-dual, but it is not non-dual. It contains non-dual. It contains the spirit of Brahman inside, but it is individualized. It is a notchless. It is individualized. It contains the universal spirit. That is how the mind interconnects with the transpersonal, the personal connecting with the transpersonal. That is how it connects. So the spirit inside is that non-dual. And the spirit inside, if and when the soul awakens, what does it do? It has the ability to make the cognitive mind, aware and conscious. It makes the limited senses and the limited cognition limitless. And because of this supreme ability of Brahman, which was referred to as Para Brahman, Par Atma. Par means beyond. Par Atma, beyond consciousness. Par Atma, meaning beyond consciousness. Parameshwar, beyond God. Para Brahman, beyond Brahman, meaning the ability is beyond nothingness. Why it is beyond nothingness? Simply because nothingness is not aware of its own self. So its ability goes beyond its own self. That is nothingness. And that is who we are. Because we have the highest intensity of awareness as compared to all other living creatures. And without this aware conscious principle, for which we have been termed as, that art thou, the conscious principle, Tattvam Asi. You are that aware conscious energy. We are the ones who have the ability of this Brahman, or the nothingness, or the Shunyata, give it any name. It comes to the same non-duality. That it is non-duality means not to means it is indivisible. It is indivisible. So it is that which cannot be seen, it cannot be heard, it cannot be known, from which everything becomes known. So again the Upanishad said, you are Brahma. Everything is Brahma. So, non-duality is the story of how explaining everything is Brahman, from within which everything appears and disappears. It is not the being. It is trying to convey, it is not the being which is important, it is that beingness. That beingness is that awareness. That beingness is that awareness which unfolds and unravels everything to us. Whether it's the universe, whether it's the stars, whether it's the ants, whether it's the subatomic particles, whether it's the leaf, whether it is rock, stone, which we have named everything through language. Language itself is dual. Language is duality. That is how and why it is so difficult to explain non-duality, and that is why there are so many different translations and explanations. Translations are not actual translations because there was Sanskrit, ancient Sanskrit was very old, so they are mingled with opinions which differ. And the most beautiful part of the Upanishad is, it is open to speculation. It is open to evolvement. So it took thousands of years for the Upanishads to change, evolve, reform, refine. So it continues. But thou, that art thou, remains within us. We are that Brahman. We are that ultimate reality. Otherwise, what do you have? Within the ultimate reality, you have the absolute reality. You have the imaginary reality. You have the virtual reality. You have the dual reality. You have the relative reality. You have illusory reality. You have all sorts of temporary realities. But there is only one and only ultimate reality, and that is non-duality. Thank you for listening. Namaste. Namaste.